What's up, Bills Mafia? The Buffalo Bills play the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football, and I got the top storylines for you. But before we get to that, let's get to that intro.
This is PZ Music.
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report. I am Tommy. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I always forget to tell you. Well, Bills Mafia, the Buffalo Bills are back at home. Yes, a home game, not a home London game against the New York Giants in Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, known as the Ralph, known as the Rich, on Sunday Night Football. And, of course, an old foe comes back to Buffalo, and that's Brian Daboll. And I do have the top storylines for this game. Let's get this thing going. Once again, shout out to Bills Wire for creating this article. All right, first up, let's get to it. Double. Yeah, man. Double. Brian Daboll will be back in Buffalo. That's the exact reason why this one will be on Sunday Night Football. Those bright lights will be cool, and it will center around Daboll returning to his former team. He left the Bills to become the Giants' head coach. Daboll is a Western New York native, another cool layer. Yeah, or you could say Daboll, right? Double, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, yeah, this is intriguing because he is our old OC. But let's be real here. I'm sure this game, a lot of people would like this game to be flexed because it's it's not a worthy Sunday Night Football game. I'll take it though because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. It's always fun to be on prime time. But yeah, let's be real here. The real story is Daboll coming back to play his former team. And right now, those Giants are struggling. Right now, Daboll is struggling over there in year two, especially with his quarterback. So, but you know, it is still intriguing, and the NFL obviously set this up because of that. So let's get back to the next one. Filling the voids. Linebacker Matt Milano, knee, leg, and defensive tackle Daquan Jones, torn pec, have joined quarterback Trey White, Achilles, on injured reserve. All three are likely out for this season. We already have confirmation White is. So what the heck do the Bills do now? The defensive line is deep, but Daquan Jones was the third best tackle in the NFL per PFF. A huge hole to fill. Milano was spelled by a mixture of Dorian Williams and Tyrel Dodson when he went down in week 5. The Bills already dealt with White's departure against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but results weren't great. Former first-round pick Kaiir Elam was benched. A lot of holes from Buffalo Bills, a lot of holes for Buffalo to fill, starting with this matchup against New York. Guys, man, injuries yet again, man. It's just like we cannot avoid them. And I was like, man, we're, you know, up until the Trey White, I was like, man, so far so good. You know, off season good. No crazy injuries during training camp. No crazy injuries during preseason. You know, we got our full lineup coming into week 1. Things were looking great. And then, boom, it happens. Trey White freaking out for the season. Achilles, man, against, going against, an AFC East team in the Dolphins who were riding high. A game that Buffalo was just dominating. And that happens, of course, right? And then we go to Jacksonville. We go to London, which we should call it Jacksonville. They were there 2 weeks. It's like they're home now. Even though it was our home game, it really didn't feel like one. Though I got to say the crowd was definitely Bills Mafia. So, shout out to the London crowd who showed up that was Bills Mafia because it was loud in there and they were cheering for Buffalo. But let's be real here. That's Jacksonville's second home, London. So, but yeah, man, then we lost Matt Milano and Daquan Jones in London. It was just a nightmare in London. And now we have even more holes to fill. It's crazy how this season has already began with key injuries, guys. That are, listen, you cannot fill. We cannot find somebody to replace Matt Milano. It's like not going to happen. Now we could find somebody who could step in and do the best they could do, right? But you're not going to be able to find another Matt Milano, an all pro and Matt Milano. It's just not going to happen. Same with Daquan Jones. I'm sorry. I love Puna Ford, and I'm so grateful we picked him up. It sucks that he hasn't been active since week one, but now's his opportunity to showcase what he's all about, what he did over in Seattle. And I'm looking forward to that as well because Puna Ford, I was excited when we signed him, good depth piece, and now he's going to have to step in and fill those shoes. So I'm excited to see what he can provide for this team, but he's no Daquan Jones. Let's not get that twisted. Now, as far as outside linebacker goes, who's filling Matt Milano's shoes, right? We don't know yet. It could be Dorian Williams. It could be Dotson. It could be Klein. By the way, Klein has been called up to the 53, signed to the 53. Yeah. I mean, things are just my worst nightmare has come true with Dotson and Klein on the 53, right? And it's a nightmare because either one of those guys could get the start. And I have a weird feeling right now McDermott is going to shuffle those guys around. I don't think it's going to be, one guy that's going to stay at outside linebacker week after week. I think it depends on the matchup. So we'll see who starts this week. Will it be Dorian Williams? Who knows? Will it be Dotson? Who knows? My personal feeling, I really hope they pick one, and that's Dorian Williams. Roll with the kid. He's going to make some mistakes, but I like him over Dotson and Klein all day of the week. So that's where we lead right now, and it sucks, man. I really hope Bean explores other options. Will he? Probably not. They like to go in-house first, I think it's a mistake. By the way, they went ahead and signed Josh Norman, 35-year-old Josh Norman, who did not play well with us when he played with us, I believe back in 2020 or 2021. It's been that long. And he did not look good then. You could tell he was aging by then, and he's gotten older since, obviously. And he's on the practice squad, guys. But this kind of tells you how they feel about Kaiir Elam right now, and what his role is going to be moving forward. Kaiir Elam is going to get another opportunity this week, guys. He needs to show up, or he's going to find himself once again inactive during game days. I really hope he does. I really hope he proves to McDermott that he is, that he should be on the field. But last week, didn't look good. And it didn't look good for Dane Jackson, by the way, either. And by the way, Dane Jackson looks like I believe he has a foot injury, may not even play this weekend. So it probably will go down to, it'll probably be Benford and Kaiir Elam against the Giants. So interesting. All right, here we go. Next up, Von's pitch count. Future Hall of Famer Von Miller returned against the Jags. In the words of his head coach, Sean McDermott, he was on a pitch count. Do we see more of Miller against the Giants? I believe we do, but it's still going to be limited. He's still knocking off the rust. You could tell he was a bit rusty for the snap counts he got against the Jaguars. But I am expecting that snap count, pitch count, whatever you want to call it, to go up against the Giants a little bit more than what we saw him against the Jags. And I expect to see a little bit better Von Miller as the rust gets knocked off in NFL. He gets NFL in game shape, right? Right now, he's still kind of working his way back, obviously. So, but I do expect to see a little bit more of Von. All right, next up. Not playing in London. Oh, jeez. The Bills host the Giants at Highmark Stadium for this primetime matchup on Sunday evening. It's not across the globe in London. It appears that Buffalo made the wrong decision going to Europe so late last week. The team looked sluggish. Not enjoying that experience already began in the Bills locker room earlier this week. Yeah. That was a disaster. Let's be real. That was a nightmare, and that's why I continue to call it a nightmare in London. It was just wrong on every aspect. One, every NFL team that's ever gone to London, as far as I know, have left early in the week. And Sean McDermott decided to go with the sports science, team and their thoughts about how the Buffalo Bills should travel to London, what's best for the team. And it was a gigantic mistake. The Bills got no practice in during the week. They got no practice when they got to London because they were dead exhausted. And you could tell they were sluggish against the Jaguars in that game. They just were not there. And I have to put that on McDermott and Bean. I listen, I get it. They're going with, the so-called experts, but man, come on, man. You got to go with what most I think every NFL team has done. And just in general, like, and I'm sure McDermott and Bean have traveled out of the country before. It takes time for your body to adjust to the time change, all that. And and these are athletes who are about to go play football, a day later, 2 days, a day and a half later. Like, they should have known better. And they should have gotten that team out there Tuesday, Wednesday, got some rest, and then did a full padded practice. Instead, they got there late and did a light walk through practice. And the guys were just not there mentally or physically. And it was a gigantic mistake to do that. And you saw the end results. It was bad. And then, not to mention then all the injuries. That stadium, by the way, love the stadium. And I don't get the turf. They have grass. They just rolled grass out for a soccer game a few days before. Then they took it out and rolled out turf for the NFL games. It makes no sense. And everybody was complaining on both sides, not just Buffalo, Jacksonville as well, that it felt like playing on cement. Like, that's how bad the turf was there. And I hope to never go back. I really do. I hope to never go back there. Like, this team, I really do, unless they switch it to grass, because that was terrible. All right, next up. All right, next up is injuries on the other side. There are many key injuries for the Giants so far this season. The likes of their offensive line is beaten up, which hasn't helped quarterback Daniel Jones at all. And Jones himself is now dealing with a neck injury in his day-to-day. Meanwhile, star running back Saquon Barkley could return in Buffalo, but he's missed recent weeks because of an ankle injury too. The Giants are beat up, and the Bills might not even know who they're going to face in many positions. Buffalo has to take advantage of that. Yeah, the Giants are beaten up. So are we, though. We are missing key pieces. But yeah, Daniel Jones' neck, from everything I've heard, he will be starting that game. Saquon Barkley, I'm not sure. I haven't gotten any updates with Saquon. But yeah, they are dealing with injuries up front. They're dealing with injuries with Daniel Jones, though he'll play. Saquon Barkley with the ankle, I think he might play, but they're just not a good team this season so far. They just can't get on the right track. Daniel Jones is a turnover machine. He's making crucial mistakes at the worst times. Him and Dable are kind of button heads right now. But hey, you paid the man $40 million a year. That was kind of your mistake there. Instead of rebuilding the right way, getting a quarterback you wanted through the draft, you went ahead and stuck with Daniel Jones, who was not the answer before you got there. It's definitely not the answer now. And I think he's learning that, but it may be too late. You already paid the guy. Though they still could draft a quarterback. But right now, the Giants are a mess. And the Buffalo Bills need to capitalize, this game and take that, advantage and just go ahead and get back on track, because last weekend's game, like I said, though we got there late and we were sluggish, the Jaguars beat us fair and square. Like, we can use those excuses, and that's okay. There's some that, I understand that, but the end of the day, Buffalo Bills just didn't play right. The offense was bad, play calling was bad. everything really. The defense was the only kind of bright spot, and even they started softening up at the end. So this is definitely a get right game for the Buffalo Bills. Get back on track because we need to. You can't keep fording losses during the year, especially when you got a team in the Dolphins that right now are 4-1 on top of on top of the division. So Buffalo needs to get these easy wins, these games. And listen, I get it, any given Sunday, but these are games that Buffalo should win. Jacksonville was a game that Buffalo should have won, and they dropped the ball and they took the L, and that sucks. That really does, because good teams should not lose to bad teams. It's just the way it works, man. These kind of losses too can really hurt a team in the long run. If you're trying to win like the AFC, you're trying to get home field advantage in the playoffs. It could come down to as simple as this one game, and it's that stupid game against Jaguars. You know what I mean? So you don't want to add another one and lose to the Giants, and then it's just not good. So do I think we're going to lose to the Giants? Hell no. I just know I don't. So anyway, let's get to the next. All right, trench warfare. The trenches is an area of the field the Bills should have an edge. While the Bills are missing Jones, the injury list in New York is much larger. On the Giants' offensive line, they are missing the likes of John Michael Schmitz, shoulder, Evan Neal, hand, ankle, and Andrew Thomas, hamstring. That's a huge reason why their offense just continues to struggle over and over again. Defensively, it's a healthier story. AZ's Jorlere hamstring has dealt with the injury, but his overall play off the edge, along with Kayvon Thibodeau, has not been good. PFF ranks them as 108th and 95th best edge defenders in the NFL heading into week 6. There is no reason for the Bills not to win in the dirty areas this week. Yeah, I agree, man. They're, like I said, the Giants right now are just not playing good football. Even their top players are just a bit off. And once again, the Buffalo Bills should match up well against the Giants. And credit to our offensive line. They weren't the best last weekend, but they did their job once again. I think this season so far through 5 weeks, this Buffalo Bills offensive line, I would rank them as, I would say they've been good. Not great, not average. I think they've been good. Can they get better? Yes, they definitely can. And I expect them to, as the season goes on, as O'Cyrus Torrence, gets his work in as far as being an NFL player. He's getting better and better each week. Now, last week, I will say, had a couple penalties. One of them, I don't know about. I thought the refs called a bad penalty on the holding there, but you can see he's holding his own against the best. So I think this line's finally coming together, and they're only getting better as the weeks go. So yeah, I think they'll hold their own against a Giants team that's just struggling right now, a defensive line that's struggling. Next up, Kaiir called upon again. Kaiir, man. Elam was already mentioned, and he might have a chance at redemption. He started last week because both White and Benford's shoulder were out. Dane Jackson wasn't great as the other starter alongside Elam, but he's higher up on the pecking order for a reason. And speaking of Jackson, he's now nursing a foot injury and could be Benford. It could be Benford and Elam against the G-men. And that is the end of that article, by the way. Yeah, man. Listen, I said it before. I see the potential in Kaiir Elam. I saw it last season. You could see the potential when he went in, because last year he was getting reps during the season. He was getting opportunities, and I didn't think he looked bad. I saw the potential in Kaiir Elam. He made some good plays. He also made some bad plays, but that's normal. He's a rookie. You're going to have those rookie ups and downs. But for some reason, this offseason and training camp and preseason, he found himself, going down the depth chart instead of up. Is he just not grasping McDermott's system, the scheme, being a zone defender? Very possible. He's a man defender coming out of college. Maybe he's just not getting it. He for me, he's like found his way in McDermott's doghouse. And the only way to get out is to showcase your ability. He had a chance last week, did not look good, but I will say a lot of players didn't look good last week. And could that have been the jet lag? Could that have been a little bit of rust because he hasn't played you know, this whole season? Possible. Very possible. Um, a little bit of nerves, a little bit of confidence issues going on, right? Maybe the kid just his confidence is broken right now because he's a first round pick. He's been, one of the top football players, on his teams throughout his life, as far as high school and college. And now he's on the bench in the NFL year two. I can understand why his confidence is a little bit shot, but he's getting another opportunity now. Now he's getting his second chance. He may start again because Dane Jackson may not play. So it may be Benford and Elam. So here's your chance, kid. Here it is. This is your chance to tell McDermott he made a mistake. He's making a mistake by putting him on the bench, by making him inactive. But if he can't show it, if he doesn't make any plays, if he's continuing to get beat and benched late in games, that's not a good look. And it probably won't hold good. And you can see why they're skeptical, and they picked up Josh Norman, which is crazy to me. But I'm going to tell you right now, if Elam doesn't play good this game, he's probably going to be inactive again moving forward, unless there's another key injury, which hopefully there's not, knock on wood. But I'm rooting for the kid because I see the potential. I do. But he has to show it. He cannot show a little, here and there, some potential, and then just, holding, getting beat, missing tackles, like McDermott's only going to give you so many chances. And maybe just maybe he doesn't fit the scheme, and he maybe he never will, or maybe he will finally get it down, and we will have, we will see the Kaiir Elam who we thought we were going to get when we drafted him. Who knows? But you can't keep messing around with first round picking and lose draft value. So in him, because there's going to come a time, whether it's the offseason this season and on the trade deadline, where Brandon Beane's going to have to make a decision. You cannot just keep our first round draft pick inactive because he's not getting it, right? Or McDermott's just not feeling him. It's time to move on then. But now you can't. Now you got to stick with the kid. You got to put him out there. He has to learn. And by him not playing at all isn't helping either. I got to say that too. And that's on McDermott. Like, why wasn't he out there more in preseason? He's going to have some struggles. That's part of having a young player. And I kind of feel maybe McDermott's just not, understanding that, being patient with him. Maybe he's being too impatient. I'm not sure. Honestly, guys, that's something I can only guess. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't see how practices are going sometimes. So, but what I do know is he has another opportunity, and he has to do something with that. That's all I can tell you. There's players across the NFL that when their opportunity came, they showcased themselves, and they winded up being starters or stars, some of them. Look at Brock Purdy, right? His number was called, and now he's like a star quarterback in the NFL. I mean, who saw that coming? But he had his opportunity, and he showcased it, and he's continuing to show why that maybe he should have been drafted earlier in the NFL. I'm just saying that a lot of teams passed on him, then overlooked him. There's a lot of guys like that: receivers, running backs, defense, undrafted players. I mean, look at Benford, 6th-round pick. He earned a spot. He was our starter last year over Kaiir Elam. Some guys answer the bell, answer their number, right? Kaiir needs to do that. He needs to take this shit personal. He needs to have a chip on his shoulder. He really does. And he needs to go out there and be like, all right, y'all want to fucking bench me? Y'all don't want to start me? You want to make me inactive? Okay, I'm going to show you what's up. Like, that should be his mentality. And I don't think he's there yet. I think his confidence right now is just like an all-time low. But he needs to get rid of that shit. He needs to talk to whoever he needs to talk to get his confidence back up to here, as high as you could be, and go, yo, I am the man. I know what I could fucking do. I'm gonna go out there and do it. Like, that's how I would be. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna fucking show you. So, Kyer, are you listening? Are you watching? Act like that. Go out there. Prove McDermott wrong. Prove everybody wrong. Because you got a lot of people out there saying first round bust. I'm going to be honest with you. So go out there and show people what you're capable of. All right, Bills Mafia. I love you. And as always, go Bills. I'm out of here. Peace.